The Vision Board Podcast, hosted by Johnny Stofko and Tristan Cannell.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 6. I'm Tristan Cannell. Alongside me, I've got Johnny. How are you, man?
What's up, guys? Feeling ready? Let's do this.
Yeah, we've got an awesome episode today. We've got a nutrition expert and a media star. So before we do that, just want to thank our sponsors, The Organic Trainer and Jackrabbit Slim's Barbershop.
Yeah, guys, check out The Organic Trainer at www.theorganictrainer.com. The holidays are upon us. What they do here is they have a couple different exercise tea, a recovery tea. They have a good flask, which allows you to put the tea in the flask and actually take the bottle with you. When you're proceeding to the checkout counter, type in code TheFitCoach to receive 10% off of all of your purchases. Also, our second sponsor, Jackrabbit Slim's Barbershop. If you're living in the Sydney area, specifically Potts Point or King's Cross, go check Dre out there. He'll hook you up before you have the Christmas dinners, Christmas parties, have you walking away feeling excellent.
Hell yeah, especially this time of year, you got to look good.
Yeah, looking fresh.
Got that New Year's coming up.
First impressions are a big thing.
Hell yeah. Well, Johnny, we're very excited today, obviously, because we've got our main man, Dayne Hudson, in the house. So just to introduce Dayne, he's the host of Network 10's Fit and Flex. He also is the creator of that. He also just recently directed Heart of Sea, and he's also very he's awesome at nutrition, and he writes custom programs for clients as well. So, Dayne, welcome to the program,
G'day,
man.
gents. Great to be here. Woo!
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
So speaking of your barber sponsor,
Yeah, let's hear it.
What about G-Watt's new hair?
Yeah, I don't know.
Andy's new hair. Speaking of which, has he gone to see Dre?
No, he hasn't.
Okay, well he should.
I think he needs to.
I think
No,
that,
it looks good. It looks good.
I think that could be an instance of a female giving him advice. Do you know what? You start dating someone and they just tell you, do this. They start molding you. I think it could be that because he was rocking the
He's
top.
trying to impress someone, I think.
Yeah.
I think
So we got Dayne Hudson. Dayne is also very multi-dimensional. I'm going to talk to him like he's not here, but you should see this guy, what he looks like. He's a savage in the gym as well. So we like having people dynamic on the show. So I'm really excited for this episode.
Absolutely. He's multi-skilled. I see that he's got a Bachelor in Arts, Advanced Diploma in Journalism. He's worked for 2GB. The man's done a lot, and he's not even 30 yet. So, Dayne, tell us a little bit about your background, man.
Yeah, background. Well, I was 16 years old and I was in a talkback radio, so I wrote a letter to Ray Hadley, actually. Ray Hadley, a rugby league commentator. Wrote him 100 letters and said, mate, I want to come into work with you one day. Pestered him. Actually dropped it in his letterbox, which is very stalkerish.
He lives out Dural.
Dural, that's right. I was living in Kenthurst, which is northwest of Sydney. And I said to him, Ray, I want to come and work for you one day, and sort of thing. So he was welcoming. He even drove me in there, would you believe? So it's year 10 work experience. I've started building the relationships because I knew that you have to start as early as you can. It sounds stupid. You think, in life we've got a lot of time. We don't.
Yeah.
You just said to me, I'm nearly 30. I've got goosebumps. I'm like, God,
yeah. I'm
nearly 30. Geez, I've got to achieve more, It's always the way it is. And that was basically it. I just went in there and said to him, I just made friends with everyone there, built the contacts. Then at 18, when I was studying, as you pointed out, the Advanced Diploma in Journalism and Bachelor of Arts and all that sort of thing, that was actually when I got my job there. So I'd stayed in touch with them via email. Remember those old chain emails you just used to send around? That's how I stayed in touch with people. So I just did things like that, and maybe today's answer to that is tagging people in Facebook posts. I don't know what the answer is. It's whatever you think, but it's just staying in touch with people, building the relationships, so that when it comes time to strike, you're ready.
So it's that network.
And you're on the top shelf. If you think sending in a CV to a TV network or a radio station or a gym for that matter is going to put you in line for a job, you're kidding yourself. Because there is a filing cabinet somewhere or a folder on a computer that no one knows anything about where your resume goes into.
Yeah.
If you are not front and centre of these people's minds, and it doesn't work with in the sense that they've got 2 weeks to find someone. They don't. It's literally like, okay, we need someone to do this shift. We need a producer for this. Who have we got? What's that bloke's name that came in for work experience? A blonde-haired kid. What's his name? Dayne. That was him. Get him in here. That's the way it works. It's not have a sit around.
So it's cutthroat. When
Sit around, red wine, sit and go, now, who are we going to employ? It doesn't work like that.
You really see, piggybacking on what Dayne just said, that's what we always talk about. It's super important, it's super prevalent to have a vision, to be passionate about what you do and 100% believe in it.
Yeah, and just to give you an insight on who Ray Hadley is, Johnny, because obviously you're from America. Ray Hadley's probably the biggest broadcaster in the country at the moment.
He's absolutely...
Was this a guy that you looked up to, a mentor?
Oh, absolutely.
This was your guy,
Ray Hadley, is a wonderful radio commentator. He's an Olympic broadcaster. He commentates the Olympics into Australia. And he's the king of morning radio. So, that's right, Channel 9. He does the Queensland game. So, this is a guy who has done the hard yards. He was a cab driver and never gave up on his dreams. And so, I guess the man's story is inspiring when you really think about it. It's incredible what he's been able to do.
Very important how promising you have to come down to believe in yourself. And then also what I wanted to ask you, Dayne, is your journey started a while ago, basically from the time you could think for yourself, and it's led you to this conversation right now, and you've done many great things. Tell our listeners how important it is and was for you not to listen to the haters.
Yeah, the haters. So, I've got an unusual sounding voice as well. So a lot of people sort of said, you probably don't have the stereotypical radio voice or something like that. I sound quite different, I guess. So do a lot of people. But when you actually have a look at the idea of the radio voice is gone. It's 10 years out of date. John Laws is one of the king of morning radios here, and he'd sound like this. 13, 32. Tristan Cannell's on the line. Tristan, hello. Yeah, that's how he sounds. Golden tonsils. Now, all that matters, I think, in life, and as I've said to you, Johnny, and you guys have got it in abundance, is energy. It doesn't matter what you sound like, what you look like. If your content is good, people will come back. Even the number one broadcasters in Australia today, you go and listen to them. They don't have voices that would cure diseases. They don't sound beautiful and soothing. If you're doing the old, music well, and now we've got a little bit of Phil Collins. Well, maybe you want to sound like that. When you're doing what we're doing, when you're doing talkback radio, so not listening to the haters is important because deep down who you really are and what you can really do. And you know what? It actually frightens people.
That's right.
When you think about what you can actually do and achieve, it frightens people. I was frightened. I left 2GB. The biggest influence on my career has been Ben Fordham. And Ben Fordham put me on air as he's expert, as you mentioned, Tristan, in your wonderful intro about how Ben Fordham told me that I had a lot of talent. He said, mate, you're 10 out of 10 radio talent. You're very good at what you do. You need to push forward with this. I'm like, I left and I said, oh, screw it, I'm going to start a fitness TV show. And it's going to be a mainstream show, and that's all there is to it. Yeah. I know how to do it. I know the science behind everything. I can interview people because I've learned from the best in the country. And no better than the rest of the world, really. These guys are as good as anyone in the world. Yeah. Alan Jones, Ray Hadley, Ben Fordham particularly. So it's like, well, screw it. I'm going to go off full of confidence. I'm going to combine my knowledge of fitness, the science of fitness, the trench research, which is very important as well, actually getting in there and doing it, not just reading journals. And I'm going to make it all work. Yeah. And that's all there is to it. And I just wouldn't accept people saying, oh, look, that's a bit crazy, or that's... But everything's crazy, and the most successful people in the world are crazy.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite bits is actually called The Madness of Excellence. And if you guys haven't listened to this, you could YouTube The Madness of Excellence. And it's actually Joe Rogan speaking about Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan. And he talks about to achieve anything great, to achieve anything special, you have to be a little mad. And you just can't buy in to other people's belief systems on what you're capable of.
That's right. And look, the world is a very, I guess, vast, wide place. There are people for everything. There are some people that are happy working 9 to 5 in a particular job and doing something and never really reaching out, and that's fine, because if we didn't have those people, we'd be screwed.
Are they happy, though? I was having a conversation with
I think
Tristan
a lot of them are. Yeah.
I used to think that, but then it comes... Okay, so...
But we need them, is what I'm saying as well.
Do you believe that everybody has greatness in them?
I think absolutely, yeah.
So going to bed. So do you think that it's just these people who are choosing to work a 9 to 5? Do you think it's one of these cases where maybe they're at a certain age and they've just given up on that dream?
Oh, look, this is very true as well. I think there's some great quotes I've seen and read before along this notion. I think some people go through life sadly and never really know what they want to do. And that's the reality of life. And some people are really happy doing the 9 to 5 thing in a job where they can't really go anywhere. But you know what? If it wasn't for these people, society wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for the Richard Bransons of the world and the people who work 9 to 5 in the supermarket, where would we go to buy our food? Yeah. Who would be there to I mean, and the thing is, I don't see anyone as any better or any worse or any... Because the joke is we need everyone in society, So that's, I guess, what it comes down to. But it's about recognising that, yes, we can all do something brilliant. The thing is, do we want to reach down and really go for it?
That deep, the fear. I think the fear of the unknown. You listen, people want their life straightforward. And if they can't see what it looks like, they're not going to go. They're not going to go for it, and that's living in a comfort zone. And in my opinion, that is detrimental to our self-evolution.
Well, they say life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Those thin branches, those skinny branches.
And I think that's so true. I think that's what life is about. You guys starting this thing and telling me about the likes from Ronda Rousey. I mean, this is
Hey, Ronda.
Yeah. Ronda? I saw it.
This is the sort of stuff that you live for, and. There's an old saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get. In other words, there's no such thing as luck, really. Yeah. There is no such thing.
Put the plan in place.
Okay, there's luck, but what is luck? How do you define luck? I mean, luck is not really a real thing.
I don't believe in luck anymore either.
Well, there's no such thing. And destiny and fate, it's all garbage. If you're willing to reach down and go for it, it's the same thing with
trench work.
The same thing with like the one for you and the and that's all rubbish as well. There are about 50 people in the world we could have a relationship with from the opposite sex. At least.
That's right.
Probably 50,000. It's just who do you come across first? There's no, my friend invited me to the movies that night and that's the reason why we ended up together. It was just meant to be.
That's horseshit.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
nothing is meant to be. The only thing we get in life is what we actually go.
Yeah, man. If you
go after ourselves.
If you guys listen or read about, so you have the law of gravity. I'm going to use the law of gravity for an example. The law of gravity is a law. It's proven to be real. The backside of that is the law of attraction. People don't understand that the law of attraction is a law. It is proven to be real. So whatever you think, whatever you create, we are creators. We create what I've been through it. My 20s were filled with bad people, bad friends, bad food, bad choices. It's because that's the way I was thinking. Once I realigned, refocused, rejuvenated my self-worth, they started to happen. Yeah. And it's the power of our own mind, being positive and creating, like you said. There's no luck. We are the creators.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But it must have been good, Dane, to actually, your passions, your media, your nutrition, your fitness, and to put it all together with Fit and Flex. You must have been pretty happy with how it's panned out, but it was always a vision for you to actually do it. That's like we were saying.
That's it. Yeah, it was. It's always about going forward and wanting to do what you dream of doing. I thought, well, these guys every day, they do a radio show on the news of the day, on what's happening, police stories, crime stories, worldwide stories. I thought, imagine if I could do this, but with fitness. Imagine if I could talk about nutrition, talk about training, and hear from inspirational people like, the BJ Penns, the Urijah Fabers, who I was lucky enough to interview, the Anthony Mundines, the Anthony Minichiellos, all those people. And create a bit of a show that's not out there. I mean, it's a niche market, so the whole world isn't going to watch it, but it's not about that. It's like filmmakers. Filmmakers don't make movies for other people, they make movies for themselves. Yeah. I mean, it's just the way the world turns. No one is out there to make films for anyone else. I mean, it's not, even though it is a business, it's not a business. Yeah. It's some businesses you'll go into purely for the revenue, maybe. But with this, it's not. It's a passion project, and it's about infecting people and getting people. I had emails from 70-year-old women, 75-year-old women after the show saying, I watched this and I learnt this and I just want your opinion on this because I just happened to be flicking through and I haven't done any exercise in years and it got me motivated. And I had everyone from 16-year-old blokes who love to pump
iron. An impact on people too.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it's not just me, it's the people in the show as well that have made the impact. And, I guess I'm bringing it to people's lounge rooms, which is great. Yeah. But it was lovely to be able to follow through with the dream. And there really is nothing like being able to do what you want to do. Someone said to me, we'll pay you $50 million a year and you're going to work for this person and you're going to do that. Or, we'll pay you 50 grand a year to do your own thing. I'd go and do my own thing because at the end of the day, you can only do so much with the cash. You can only spend it for so long. You're at work 5 days a week, and in my case, actually 6 or 7. Because I don't. That's right. I don't really slow down. I'm always on the computer writing something or reading something in preparation for another article or a TV series or a film I want to make in 5 years or whatever it may be. It doesn't stop. And that's the way. Alan Jones is the example. Alan Jones is the #1 breakfast broadcaster in Australia, and he said, when I was driving him, I was a producer, but I'll also have to drive him as well. He once said, one thing you kids don't understand, it's all hard work. You've got to all work hard, that's the way it goes, he used to say.
That was awesome.
That's what he used to say. Mate, that's what he used to say. He used to say, it's all about working. The kids today, they don't understand. That guy goes to bed at about midnight. When I say bed, it's with his suit on a lounge chair in the living room. He drifts in and out of sleep with ABC on. And
so he's continuously learning in the background.
Continuously learning. He'll wake up at 3 o'clock. He'll get up and off he goes to work in preparation for the 5:30 on air time. Yeah. He is working till midnight. All he does is work. There is no one
That's that will #1, eh?
Breakfast. No one's going to come near.
But
him.
There is an importance though. There's a very important factor of balance.
There is. I don't think. Well, look, he has weekends where he'll relax. He'll have downtime where he's making money for charity.
Well, they say if you love what you do, you never work a day. So there you go.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah. The old Tim Ferriss thing, right? The 4-hour work week. Although he's actually working 90,000 weeks of the. Yeah. But look,
great pitch. Great idea.
Oh, well, it worked. And good luck to Tim Ferriss. He's a legend.
Tim Ferriss, what's up, bud?
G'day, Tim.
So to piggyback on what you just said, how important, and we know this, but some people, if they're not ready, if you're not on that path yet, if you haven't found what you're supposed to do, how important it is for them to find what makes them happy.
Well, it's very important. It's the #1 thing. As I say, some people don't know what they want.
Yeah, I was there before.
They don't know.
You have to do a lot of trench work on yourself.
Yeah, but for me, I think fitness lights passion more than anything.
It saved me.
There is just
it took me 33 years.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. There is something about fitness that enlights the gladiator in all of us.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It's like a warrior lather that begins to build.
It ignites rather, and it's the same with everyone. 70-year-old women, 80-year-old women. My grandmother lived till she was 103 and a half.
Good woman.
And she was swimming up until the age of about 90, 95. I do believe in, from the research I've seen, and I've written about actually before on my site, genetics in terms of the motivational gene is actually a real thing.
Is it a real thing?
Believe
I'm reading about that.
I've got an article on it. I'll send it to you.
You need to send me it because I'm kind of on the fence about that. Because if motivation, there's so many other things to test, such as economical factors, what your environment, your relationships, because all of those things in turn affect our self-motivation. So maybe it's a gene in a sense of that it's. I don't even know how, because I'm reading an article about. I don't know how you would measure it or even test that.
Yeah, look, it's difficult. It's certainly hard. I mean, I'd have to go back and have another look at what I uncovered. It was about 12 months ago that I wrote it, so it's hard to remember absolutely every little thing that you read.
Email me it.
But I do notice that, like, my mum was going to be an Olympic swimmer, and I picked up the active. My brother is massively active. I'm massively active. My sister is as well. She's always been active. So, you look at the grandmother, which is from the dad's side, who was, from Switzerland, and then you look at my mother. So on both sides of the fence, I'm looked after, and this is the longest I've had out because of but I'm still training. Like I just come.
Yeah. So talk to us about that. Dayne's he's battling through an injury, right?
Yeah, just brief. I mean, it's.
What is it?
I've had about 8 weeks out with tendonitis. So I started playing golf, and I'm everything or nothing. So it was 4 sessions a week in the golf nets. Then it was playing on the weekend. Then it was lifting weights. My attendants basically said, I don't know who you think you are, buddy, we're not dealing with this.
What are you doing for...
basically.
What are you doing to help it right now?
I'm just massaging it, stretching it, resting it, trying to get some omega-3s in there.
Have you tried acupuncture?
No, you know what?
I have a great referral for you.
New Year, I'm thinking on the weekend, I'm just going to have to give it a go.
A great referral. He does a lot of the athletes in the area, a lot of NRL guys.
Mate, I'm gonna look into it.
Good.
Absolutely, because I I get to that stage now where it's like, well, you get a bit desperate. But look, these things happen. So I'm doing legs 5 times a week, and my strength in a deficit, 12-week calorie deficit, minus 8 kilograms has increased.
So tell our listeners, if they're not aware, what a deficit is.
A deficit is, a calorie deficit. So my total daily energy expenditure is round about, off the top of my head, 2,500 calories, meaning I burn that. So I'm in a 20% deficit. So, less than that I'm taking in. Now, we can't grow muscle in a deficit. We also eventually, on the graph, long term, do lose strength in a deficit. But because I can't train up the body, all I'm doing is training legs. My strength has gone up.
Wow.
And I'm 8 kilograms lighter.
For the legs, though.
For the legs, of course, because I can't train yet. So I'm 90 kilograms.
That's interesting. Remember
Normally,
we spoke about that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, now I'm 82,
I was losing weight
83.
and losing strength at the same time, and we'll try and find a study that would confirm or
Yeah, that's it. Well, here I am getting ready. I normally shoot at this time of the year. Well, I can't because I'm not getting in front of a camera when I can't pump up first. I mean, it's you got to be able to pump up. You got to also. I don't feel 100%. Yeah. So I don't want to stand in front of a camera, and I'm not lean enough because I've backed off. I'm not dieting as hardcore because it's like, well, screw it. I can't train properly. Forget about it.
And for those who haven't experienced it before, what does tendonitis feel like? Is it meant to pick something up? Or?
Yeah, well, it actually for me it didn't. It's just
internally and externally rotating.
I can do all of that. It's all actually. It feels great.
Yeah.
You just can't lift it 100%.
Yeah.
If I can't lift it 100%, I'm not lifting. Simple as that.
Yeah. So I've battled tendonitis for the last year, and I'm a former baseball player. And the acupuncture, when you research it and you see what it's doing and how long. Thousands of years. This whole Western medicine thing has only been upon us for a couple hundred. So I feel that we've lost touch a little bit with who we really are in terms of our connection with the earth and the power that we have in our own hands. So the needles themselves, they're not really needles, and what they do is release stagnation. Stagnation is the best way to explain it is a collective gathering of stagnant energy. And it gets your channels flowing.
Could you train with your tendonitis?
Yeah. So I get treatments twice a week.
But when it was serious, could you train with
I
it?
avoided things. So I couldn't do the bars. I couldn't do... basically, I was doing... The compound lifts were fine for me. I could squat, I could deadlift, I could row.
So you could go back to heavy lifting?
Yeah, I could go back to heavy lifting, but it was the things... I couldn't hang from things, which that's I love to do. I love pull-ups, I love dips, I love doing planks, and all types of progression. So I had to stay away from that for about 3 months.
Yeah, sure, okay. Well, that's good. It's as long as you're... I think we'll all recover eventually with a good program, acupuncture, whatever it is. You just got to make sure you're doing it.
Yep.
Whatever it is, do it and stretch it and relax it and rest it.
How important is it to get treatment too? You meet a lot of these guys or girls.
Important.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
kind of archaic in a sense mentally. I've never gotten a massage before, and it's pretty. It's like, wow, you've never gotten your body. You train 4 times a week, but you've never gotten a massage.
Well, I've never had one until now, so
interesting.
Because I don't like massages.
You don't like being touched?
Oh, I hate it.
I have an issue with that.
I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's somebody else.
I'd rather give a massage.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
When are you giving your massage?
Got those hands out,
Yeah, that's right, boys. Just come around here.
Oh yeah, watch out.
Yeah.
But I think you're a good example actually as well, man. Like a lot of people that get injured just totally take time off the gym. But you can still work your legs, so you got in there.
Oh yeah.
Realigned your program.
Oh yeah,
and you're staying active, and
that's
probably huge for you because you're in here every day. So
yeah, still 5 days a week.
How about the mental side of it though? Because I know it's only human nature. It is a setback. You haven't let it. You haven't let it totally encompass your whole being because you're still moving. But there's times I have clients, Tristan has clients, you do as well. In terms of if there's an injury, depending what this client is and there's progression, it could totally destroy them in their mindset of I'm hurt now, I can't do anything. So, what's your opinion on it? Do you feel that you could always do something?
Of course you can.
That's right.
And the joke is you can just laugh about it and find a way to make it a positive. Look at my leg strength. I mean, it's gone up.
Yeah.
My legs, not that I really need to improve them. I'm probably more worried about the upper body. But that's okay. Maybe I can have 8 weeks off legs and smash up my body twice a week when it comes back. Now, I won't do that. Who am I kidding? But I can talk about it with a smile at least. But I could never train legs. Not train legs. My favourite one to train, Yeah. I just love it. I live to train legs. I love it. The pain. It's just a pain like nothing else. And it's, as you say, it's that unleashing the gladiator. It's that getting to know yourself. It's those last few reps where it's like, oh, come on. It's,
I hear you out there sometimes.
Yeah. I love that, And his shoulders and all that, it's just not the same.
Yeah, it's
the
not
pain
the same.
isn't the same. I live for the pain.
Very
I love
primal,
it.
Isn't it?
So it's actually quite nice because the euphoria is still there. 'Cause I'm just walking up, I'm doing leads today, so, you know, I'll have a coffee around about 2 o'clock, get the beta-alanine in, you know,
Let's talk about that. I had a question I want to ask you in terms of, so the industry we're in, the fitness industry, is, I'm gonna be as diplomatic as I could be right now, but it's inundated with a lot of, we'll say, gurus. Follow me, look like I look, and do what I do. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, look, the fitness industry is one of those industries where the way someone looks has absolutely, generally, nothing to do with their knowledge. So, you know, it's like, it comes down to this. There are some people who look unbelievable and they know a stack load about nutrition, fitness, bodybuilding, whatever it is. There are other people that look dreadful. I mean, when I say dreadful, I mean you wouldn't look twice at them. Yet they really know their stuff.
Yep.
Now, just because I might look good in a photo shoot, or just because, you know, I might look good somewhere, doesn't mean I actually know anything. Now, I reckon I know 1% of all information out there. I spend a lot of time reading it and researching, but it comes down to your willingness to learn and dropping the ego and knowing that it's not about, you don't know everything.
And your delivery as well. Like
and your delivery, massively.
Coaching someone, even in nutrition or training, is a lot different to just being a star in the gym.
That's it.
If you can't get it across to someone and be patient with them and actually get them to take that information in and apply it, then it practically means nothing.
Exactly. And there are some people that look great because of the drugs they take.
Yeah, but they don't tell.
They don't tell you.
They don't. Yeah, they don't.
They're overnight experts, and they've just repeated all the bro science over the years.
Exactly right.
And they've taken a few drugs, and they look fantastic. Congratulations. But there's only one problem. It's not the knowledge that got them there. Yeah. It's the genetics.
Yeah, it's the
and
extra.
The drugs.
It's the extra help that they've got on the side.
So that's the massive problem with.
That's what the industry's kind of
facing
at the moment.
Don't listen to someone because they look good. Learn about science. Learn about what works, what doesn't work, and then go and see what sort of studies they're referencing. Are they referencing epidemiological studies, which is the study of patterns, which we can only generate a hypothesis from, but we can't know for sure? Are they talking about randomised controlled trials? Are what they're saying, are they making sweeping statements? You know, you can actually work it out. You don't need to be Albert Einstein to do that.
The research that you refer to, how do you pick the good from the bad?
Yeah, so essentially, let's look at the idea of the whole quitting sugar stuff. So people say, they look at that and they go, well, you know, epidemiological data, which is the studies of patterns. So basically, people look at a whole heap of people and they go, all right, well, those people, it was 30,000 of them, they all have a high intake of sugar, and they've all got diabetes, and they all died of heart disease. So sugar must be the problem. So someone will go out and create a business off the back of that, or write an article saying sugar is the problem, but no one's looked at cause and effect. If you drop a pen in this room, it hits the table. Gravity. Can't be disproven. It's a fact of life.
Yep.
We don't know for sure. Well, it's actually, when you look at the basic biochemistry of what sugar's made up of, you can actually very quickly work out that sugar is not the problem. So what do? They go and set up a randomised controlled trial, and they go, we're going to give these subjects in a calorie deficit, so less calories than they burn, we're going to give them 44% of their calories from sugar. We're going to go and give the other group 4%, we're going to see what happens. Is there something inherently bad about sugar that makes people fat? So they sit back with their lab coats, and I know a lot of these people, all they want is the truth. And they sit there and they look at it all, and they monitor the subjects, and I can tell you that 4% or 44%, the weight loss is identical, because there's nothing inherently bad about sugar. It's how much we're having, it's the context, and it's the dose.
Yep.
That's what it is. So people point to that, and I've heard even very well-known doctors say, oh, well, you know, diabetes is those who have a can of soft drink a day are more likely to have diabetes. That doesn't work. That's like saying those who walk up the stairs in a shopping centre are more likely to have a knee injury. But that's not what actually caused their knee injury. It was something they did at work. It was maybe squatting with a bad technique, or it's like saying, it's like saying those who have sex more than once a week are more likely to die of cancer. But there's no correlation there. Yeah. It's not the sex. It's the lifestyle. It's the diet. So there is so much about epidemiological evidence that the media blows it out of proportion. Like the same with the bacon and the red meat thing. We still there is evidence pointing towards the fact that these things may potentially be carcinogenic, may potentially be. When you actually scratch the surface and you look beyond the headlines, it's still not cause and effect.
Yep.
They're only saying that it's in that category, but we need to be wary of it. Of course, we need to be wary of it. Maybe 2-3 servings of red meat a week. High fibre is very important. We know that fibre is important potentially for combating cancer. So the truth is, they don't know.
Yeah.
In 2015, coming into 2016, technology is so good that people think we need to know every other industry should be the same. Science and what we know about the body and what causes cancer and what doesn't, we still don't know cause and effect.
Yeah, it's those headlines that actually create.
It's the headlines, and there's other studies that I can send you and I could pull up right now that they do massive studies on the bulk of people, and they go, well, look, there's still no link between red meat and cancer. And then other epidemiological studies, there is.
Yeah.
So it's still not the gravity effect. We still don't know for sure if we drop the pen. Well, we know what will happen. We don't know with the thing. If you jump off a cliff, you die.
Yep.
Fact. We still don't know. I'm not saying red meat doesn't cause cancer. I'm not saying processed meat doesn't cause cancer. I'm saying we don't 100% know.
That's right, man. See,
that's what I'm saying.
And what I feel about that too is everyone is different. Everybody is different. Everybody is different depending what part of the world you're from, depending your genetics. And then what also plays in cancer, abnormal cell growth, so many things in terms of stress promote that as well. I think with the food, if it's very touchy subject when you start talking to people about food, about what to do and what not to do, and then a lot of people attach themselves to somebody else's belief system or ideology with the food thing, and then that begins this firestorm of the sugar film and the bacon being no good. What I tell my clients is find what works for you and keep it simple. If you it's going to take you a while to get there, but for me, if it has a label, I'm not going to eat it. Like I like whole foods. I like things. If I have to read it, I'm not going to eat it. But that's me. I'm not preaching that to everybody. That just works for me where I'm at in my life.
And it's what you want to do.
That's what it's a choice.
So it doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, it comes down to this, right? It's like you don't need to quit sugar to lose weight. You don't need to go on a paleo diet to lose weight. You don't need to go on a ketogenic diet to lose weight. If you want to do that and you are 100% happy with doing it, go for it. Do you know what the best diet in the world is? The best diet is the one that you can stick to and the one that you love with no cravings. So whatever that diet is, do it.
So talk about correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a nutritionist. I say this all the time. I never claim to be. But to lose weight isn't it as simple as the calories you put in to the calories you burn?
Essentially, energy balance, negative energy balance is basically what it is. Yeah, I mean, there are other factors that have a different bearing on the results.
If I burn more calories than I eat, though, I'm going to lose weight?
Absolutely, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but the thing is, what we're after is long-term fat loss, which is what you've been able to do very well.
Thank you.
You've been able to keep the fat off. A lot of people get rid of it by a stupid, cutting sugar, cutting this. I can tell you right now.
I didn't do anything, Dayne.
No, I know. You
didn't
did
follow anyone's plan.
No, I know. But you did what you want to do.
Yep.
And that's all that matters if you can stick to it. So that's the best diet in the world for Johnny. End of story. But it comes down to this. It comes down to, and I'll debate it with anyone on the face of the earth, that if you're running around preaching quitting something to get somewhere, you're effectively selling an eating disorder, because that's where they come from. Right on.
Say that one more time.
Well, if you're telling someone to quit a paleo diet, don't drink coffee, hello, do you not realise the benefits of coffee for, well, not only dementia and things like that,
blood flow, right?
All sorts of things. Reduce the perception of pain, greater output in the gym, more muscle growth,
energy,
more fat loss. The thermogenetic effect of caffeine, the raising the metabolic rate over times. Apparently, it can help with our memory. The scientists
is there a certain amount? Is coffee one of those things like wine? Because I've read articles about red wine.
No.
A glass a day is beneficial. 3 to 4 is deadly. Is it one of those things?
No. That was the old resveratrol thing. They worked out you need about a ton of resveratrol for it to actually help. So because resveratrol was in red wine companies were selling it as a wonder.
That? Yeah. Is there too much coffee to have?
Too much coffee, absolutely bad for the pancreas, it depends on who you are,
there you go.
Your health. Marcus, I'm writing today about how many eggs are bad. How much is too bad? It depends on our state of health. There is a 91-year-old man in the New England Journal of Medicine I was reading about who had 15 eggs a day, absolutely perfect cholesterol, no harm whatsoever. It was backed up by numerous people in his life.
Yeah.
It's dietary cholesterol doesn't increase levels of cholesterol in the blood necessarily. It's not the way it works. It sounds like it would be, but it isn't. If we don't eat enough cholesterol, the liver produces it for us.
Yeah, so
there's some cholesterol's there.
We need HDL, right? High density lipoproteins.
Yeah, high density.
LDL is the bad one.
LDL is the bad cholesterol.
Allegedly. Well, they label things.
No, but it's bad in the sense that you don't want too much of it. But then again, what I'm saying is to go back to what you were saying. If you're saying to quit sugar, to quit carbohydrates, I'll show you a million studies that show you that carbohydrates may be beneficial for optimal output for weightlifters. So if you want to quit carbohydrates, make sure your performance isn't suffering. Log it in your diary. Is your deadlift, is your squat going down? If it is, don't quit carbs because you think it's a problem. Because carbs don't make you fat, and carbs won't hinder progress or anything like that, which is a lot of people try and say they do, like say that you're better off to not have them. It's rubbish, but you're effectively selling an eating disorder because people go around craving foods and then they crack and then they can't stop. How do I know? I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been a 16, 17-year-old kid who didn't eat sugar because I thought it was bad. Because I listened to people that said an insulin spike means you'll get fat. It doesn't. So I speak from a science point of view, from going after the information myself, and from a tried and tested point of view. I haven't written a book trying to sell the ideology, which is a lot of what doctors have done.
Yeah, but you're living it.
I'm living and breathing it. I'm about being low body fat, and if the world was low body fat, and I don't mean photo shoot low body fat, because that's somewhat, and I stress the word somewhat, unhealthy, somewhat.
Yeah.
We're not long term like that. But what I'm saying is, if the whole world understood negative energy, and that is calorie deficit, obesity and diabetes would be a foreign word that we thought was the name of a Chinese emperor. We'd have no idea what it was.
Yeah, nutrition, it is the toughest part for everyone. It's so, because I think what people want is once again, it comes back to fear. I put it there. They want a written out plan of success, but there just isn't one. You really have to trial and error.
Yeah.
See, would you recommend, getting yourself tested in terms of allergies? Because I know a lot of people have underlying allergies. I was one of them. I was eating a lot of dairy-based products, milks, yogurts, thinking that, and then I would have bloated stomachs, gas, and it was because of an allergy.
Sure.
I thought that was normal. I thought everybody who ate things like that.
No, absolutely. If you feel only if it's a problem. I just wrote about gluten being all in your head actually, because they worked out that celiac disease is a real thing. I'm not saying it isn't. What I'm saying is that they did a study and they worked out in Australia, actually, it was in Melbourne. A doctor performed a study and these guys reacted to gluten. They're like, how the goddamn hell have these people reacted to gluten? They weren't celiacs. So what he did was he pulled a different group in and worked out that they reacted to gluten only because they wanted to react to it.
It was all in their head.
It was all in their head.
Wow.
Do you know there was a study in Japan? This is mind-blowing, Tristan. They found guys that were allergic to leaves, that were allergic to the leaves of a poisonous tree. They called them into a lab and they said, right, we're going to touch you on the arm with the poisonous leaves, then we're going to touch you on the other arm with the non-poisonous leaves. Well, what they didn't tell these young Japanese gentlemen, they swapped them around. Yeah. And only 2 out of 13 subjects reacted to the poisonous leaves.
All in their head.
It is all in. I'm not saying yours is.
No.
I'm saying, mate, if you're bloated, you're bloated.
Yeah.
Right?
To piggyback on it's all in your head, guys. If you listen, check out Wim Hof. I brought him up earlier, maybe a month ago. So he, up until just about 2 years ago, scientists thought that our immune systems were autonomous, basically working on their own cycle. Wim Hof, his nickname is the Iceman. He is from, I'm pretty sure, Denmark. He has broken over 20 world records, one of them being climbing Mount Everest with zero equipment, only spiked shoes. And what he's been tested in a hospital with scientists, he was injected with bacteria and he didn't get sick. He's proven, and then he did that a year later with 10 people that he taught. So he conditions you and coaches you on how to control your own immune system. He's held his breath for over 20 minutes, and they tested 100 more people, and the only 10 who didn't get sick were him and his people.
Yeah.
So it goes to show you that we have more power over our bodies than we're taught to believe.
I'm writing about.
All I know right now is that I don't know anything, and what people and the leaders and politicians need to start talking about is they don't know shit. Nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
We're all kind of like floating on this rock in space with no clue of what's going on.
Yeah,
so if somebody's trying to sell you something or tell you this is the way to go, I would really look into it first. And our industry is filled with those people.
Oh, it's filled with them, yeah. Actually, I'm writing about should you train when you're sick. That's coming out this week.
What's your opinion on that? That's a good one.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at the studies, and they're saying that it won't help with recovery, it won't affect recovery.
I like it.
And it won't grow the bacteria. I've done two studies that I've seen. So it was just like basically just do it, but only it was 70% of maximal heart rate. So that's cardio.
Yeah.
So I'll have to make my recommendations, practical recommendations up the back. So weightlifting is slightly different, but maybe a bit of weightlifting could be all right. I mean, I think it probably would be.
It could
but
be,
again, it comes down to whether you want to
sweating.
do it. It's
probably beneficial. Now, this is bro science from my aspect. I'm not an anatomy and physiologist, but I'm thinking that once you get the heart rate up and the blood flow, it just makes sense that when you're sick, you're sweating toxins out.
Yeah, well, they say that it doesn't affect it anymore in the studies I've seen, but I've only looked at two, so I'll have to keep doing the PubMed search. But anyway, it brings us into the notion of flexible dieting, I guess, which is what I am a big believer in, because it means you basically do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously within reason. I mean, there's so...
Is this for everyone, though? Everyone on...
So much misinformation about what flexible dieting actually is.
What if I'm a guy who hasn't worked out? I'm 30, I'm 10 kilos overweight.
I'd say it was, and I use this in inverted commas, the best approach you can take. Because it means you can enjoy what you want and keep going. People think dieting is this. You see those memes on the internet, you see them. You know, people think dieting is...
chicken and broccoli.
Tomorrow... but today I'm loading up on gummy bears and cake because my diet starts tomorrow and I can't eat that food for 15 weeks.
Yeah.
If you've got that mindset, you can forget getting into shoot shape, into contest shape, some people can push through it and they get extremely depressed and they hate life. And what flexible dieting is, I'd love to make this clear because there's a lot of misinformation. First of all, let me tell you what it isn't. People think flexible dieting, and there's some bad poster boys for it. What people think it is you've got your protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Have your meat, your chicken, your protein shakes, and get all your fat and carbs from donuts, ice cream, cookies, candy bars, candy canes, sit on Santa's lap, have whatever the bloody hell you like, and do that. That's what. So
there's people actually preaching that.
No. It's not that they're preaching it.
They just don't tell the story properly.
They will do it and they write articles about it and that's all now. Yeah. So.
It'll be an Instagram post.
It's not ideal for long-term health, and it's not ideal for getting your micronutrients. Okay, which is great. Some people still don't understand what it actually is. What flexible dieting actually is hitting your protein numbers the way you normally would.
Yeah.
Chicken. Kangaroo, which I love because it's lean and full of zinc, which is great. Turkey, whatever it may be. Pork, I love a bit of that.
Are you finding protein? See, let me ask you this. Say I'm a vegetarian. I'm not, but what if I am? How do I get my protein?
Well, plant-based proteins, protein shakes, tofu, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. There is nothing bad about a vegetarian diet. In fact, the amino acid levels in plant-based foods are just slightly not as high as they are in meats and poultry and things like that. But when you're eating enough of them, your plasma leucine levels, which is the main amino acid behind protein synthesis, which is one of the 3 BCAAs, leucine, is still high. So you're still getting your amino acids. There are vegetarian bodybuilders out there. They're as jacked as anything.
Yeah, you have to think their gut health will be a lot better than us as well.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that. I haven't looked deep enough into it to know. But if you're hitting your fibre numbers, the most important thing with flexible dieting is hit your protein numbers, hit your fibre numbers.
Tell our listeners how they could get the fibre numbers up.
Fibre numbers is fruit. Fibre numbers is watching the carbohydrate content of fruit. Nothing wrong with fruit, though some experts say to cut it out. It's just absolutely preposterous. That's an argument for another day. Greens, obviously, your green beans, dark leafy greens, which contain a lot of iron as well. The world's largest nutrient deficiency is iron. Iron is so important.
Particularly up there too, correct?
Yeah, particularly with women though, because of the menstrual cycles. Yeah. Iron is very important for women. So greens. So they can have the Krispy Kreme donut. They can have the the chocolate bar, but they've got to make sure their protein numbers are on point and their fibre numbers are on point and their iron numbers are on point, and they can eat what the bloody hell they like.
Okay, you just
providing it's within their
I think you just
their
taught me
numbers.
something. So
That's what flexible dieting is. It's having something every day, a small item. It might be 1 donut one day, 0 the next, 2 the next, none for the next 3 days, slice of cake the day after that, a Mars bar the next day, and nothing for the next week. It depends what you feel like.
So what is your opinion on, because this is what I tell my friends, family, clients, is that when it comes to the food, when it comes to anything actually, when it comes to the partners we choose to date, when it comes to the food we put into our bodies, we become a reflection of that. So I don't diet. I've never said I've been on a diet. I choose my nutrition wisely, and I choose to eat healthy foods. So I like the idea with the flexible dieting, because what I just listened from you is that if I have a client who's not quite ready for that restriction, not quite ready for that jump to just eat plant-based, whole food, non-processed foods, it kind of gives them a mental crutch, almost like a psychological reasoning. Look, you're not failing. You're not, just because you have this doesn't mean you failed.
That is exactly what it is.
Yeah, man. So
it's exactly.
Nobody preaches from that angle. Somebody should, because that's very important.
Yeah, well,
That's
I've tried to
psychological.
tell so many people this on Facebook, but some people, they laugh at me and they say, well, who are you? You're a nobody. You've never competed, which I haven't, because I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I love bodybuilding. I just don't compete. I compete with myself every day. But they say, oh, you've never competed, you've never done this. What would you know about that? No bodybuilding coach would ever prescribe flexible dieting, and no pros would ever do it. Oh, really?
What else would they
Every
prescribe,
single bodybuilder from the 80s essentially did it. Serge Nubret, Dorian Yates, Frank Zane, Mike Mensa, all of them ate pizza coming into shows. Coke, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler. I've got an article on my website. Google it, Jay Cutler, IFYM. Some goose bro interviewer goes up to interview and says, now, what do you think about this, IFYM, a gummy bear is the same as a sweet potato, or, and then Jay Cutler's turned around and says, well, mate, it is. It is. And this guy's face, you should see, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
This guy's like, well, Jay Cutler would never have done that. Well, no, he did. Jay Cutler used to drink Coke, he used to eat candy. Candy corn is what Jay Cutler used to like. It's all about knowing your numbers. So, Johnny, I'm going to take one look at you and I'm going to guess. I reckon I'd be within to the gram here. But I would say every day you could eat 70 grams of fat. You could have 170 grams of protein, 155 or 160 grams of carbs every day. So what you would do is you'd get your protein numbers from chicken, fish maybe. You might like a bit of pork, bit of meat. Your fat would come from, maybe you might want 1 donut. You might want half a Kit Kat. You might want sashimi. I had the salmon sashimi, can't get enough of that. So I'm getting omega-3s, I'm getting all that jazz. Peanut butter as well, I get into. The olive oil on the salad, absolutely, give me some of that. And a bit of almonds as well. Your carbohydrates will come from the donut, because that's fat and carbohydrates. Your carbohydrates will come from white or brown rice. It doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. GI means nothing, especially for us, nothing. You might get from oats. You'll get it from greens as well. You must count them. From fruit, you'll also maybe get it from a Pop-Tart, which is pretty cool as well. It's like the poster food for flexible dieting. So at the end of the day, there is absolutely nothing about your diet that is unhealthy, not one thing.
Yeah,
and I'll debate anyone in the world on that, and so will any scientist much smarter than me will sit there and say, look, you guys are kidding if you think there is anything inherently bad about that diet. Your blood triglycerides are lower because you're in a calorie deficit. You will not get diabetes, and you've got more chances of being touched by an angel than becoming obese. It's impossible. That's what health is. It's mental health. It's freedom. It's, as you just brilliantly pointed out, it's all about the fact that client knows I can have a Krispy Kreme. There's nothing wrong with it.
I remember I was getting ready for a photo shoot, actually the first one that I had done in a couple years. And you told me, I saw you the day before we were training, and you were like, Johnny, here's what you do. I think I brought figs with me.
Yeah, dried figs.
Dried figs. And, and I researched it, and it just, when you said Cutler was eating the pizza, could you talk a little bit about when you get to a certain lean state, when you get to a certain percentage, that pizza will actually make your muscles look
that's
more
right.
full?
So I don't carb deplete coming into shoots, because I just worry, as a natty bodybuilder, you don't look very big at the best of times.
Yeah.
So what you do is I keep the carbs up, And I take over-the-counter diuretics to get rid of the water.
Is that safe?
Absolutely.
You mean
It's like dandy loot. What is it? Dandy? Yeah. What do they call it again? I can't remember. Dandy.
It's a
I can't remember what it's called.
It's a flower?
But it cuts water. It's perfectly safe.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
you're not talking about you're going to get the Mexican supplements getting jabbed.
Oh, forget it.
Dayne Hudson's 100% natural.
No. Yeah.
We are in an industry though, because we're a rare breed. We're a rare breed of guys who go full on, pretty much with no assistance, and you're in a gym with guys who are just looking like barbarians. Talk about the mindset of what it takes somebody to get past that first flirting with the idea, shit man, this guy's on the gear, maybe I should too.
Look, you know what? Always assume everyone is natural because it makes you work harder. That's
right.
The way I look at it. I don't care what someone's on, what someone's not on. If they look great, they look great. I don't judge people.
Made a good point
I
before.
like that.
On
Competing
drugs.
against yourself.
Yeah, competing against yourself. But back to what you were saying, Johnny, about the whole pizza thing. So you deplete your carbohydrates and you want to fill it right back up. You can't gain body fat in 2 days. I mean, it's microscopic if you do, right? Microscopic. So what you're doing with the carbohydrates and the things, you're actually pumping the veins out. You're actually filling up your muscle bellies with glycogen. So you've removed glycogen is chains and chains of glucose, which obviously comes from carbohydrates. So what you're doing is you're filling your muscles back up and then you're pumping your muscles up. And so you're sending blood into them, you're sending water into them, you're sending carbs into them. They just blow up. That's why people look big on bodybuilding stages. And then 3 days later, they're a bit softer. They're still big, but they're soft because the body fat, has maybe, depending on how much they've binge, caught up with them, or the fluids, more to the point. Yeah. They're just holding more water.
So you said
bodybuilding, smoke and mirrors. That's what it is.
You're a fan of bodybuilding. You've interviewed some of the greats, the gods of the sport. What is your opinion though on supplements in terms of not supplements of what you take, but what goes on in our industry? I see it a lot on my Instagram page. I see it on yours as well. Is you see these companies, these big companies. I don't want to name drop anyone. I'm not trying to. This is a platform for positivity, inspiration, and education. But these supplement companies are putting on a guy who looks like He-Man, targeting the 16, 17, 18-year-old, saying, buy this supplement and look like me. What's your opinion on it?
Well, the opinion is it depends on what supplement it is, and it depends on what the other person's taking maybe exogenously that matters. By that I mean testosterone, by that I mean...
How about the 17-year-old, though, who's uneducated, unexperienced, and thinks that he needs to look like that? That the mental side
if he wants to look like that, train hard. There's no supplement that's going to magically give it to you. So... that's what I would say. I'd say, look, the industry, it's a great industry, but it's a bad industry as well. Yeah. It's like every industry. But I will say that it's very important to know that, let's do a quick snap science lesson here. The supplements that actually work. Whey protein is extremely beneficial. It's convenient as all get out, and it has a higher biological value than any food.
Science behind that, right? There's been studies.
Oh, absolutely. Biological value is the amount of nitrogen absorbed versus the nitrogen contained. Whey protein beats eggs, it beats steak, it beats all of them. It's a processed food. People try and bag processed foods. Well, they don't know what they're talking about. Whey protein is a great supplement. Can you survive without it? Of course you can. But it's a damn convenient supplement, especially when you're trying to get lean and your protein numbers have to be between 2.3 to 3.1 grams of fat-free mass a day, as worked out by Helms and colleagues last year. We know, by 2014 I'm not sure when you'll drop this. But what I'm saying is that it matters that your protein numbers are high. So do you think I'm sitting around all day cooking chicken breast 100 times? No. What do you reckon I'm doing? I'm having whey protein shake.
I've actually never seen you eat, which is crazy.
I eat twice a day. I eat twice a day.
Now, if you listeners don't know, we'll tell you how to get a hold of Dayne, but dude, the guy pretty much looks like he's cut from stone, and to have that build, and I see his work ethic, it, like he said, it is not easy. This is years of discipline and focus, but usually normally, so I know guys who walk around with hard-boiled eggs, I know guys who are always eating nuts, grilled chicken breasts, etc., etc. I've never seen you eat.
When I'm getting lean, I eat twice a day.
Okay.
Talk about that.
What was the other supplement, though? He said there were two supplements. Sorry about that.
Beta-alanine, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Beta-alanine is another one.
Okay. What are the benefits of beta-alanine?
Beta-alanine, basically, in layman's terms, the real short version is when we're training, our muscle pH levels drop. That's when they drop, we fail. That's what muscle failure is, essentially, negative like pH balance in the muscles.
Okay.
So what we're doing with beta-alanine, we're keeping it at an optimal range for a tiny bit longer to get a few more reps out. That's all it is, which may lead to more muscle growth.
How about creatine monohydrate?
We can't say 100%, but we have seen increased muscle growth from beta-alanine. Creatine is the most researched ergogenic supplement. Ergogenic, means performance enhancing. So essentially, creatine it works. When we're training,
for strength,
everything
for growth, endurance,
endurance, and not so much.
Okay.
Endurance. It can be used in interval training for endurance long term, but essentially, adenosine triphosphate is the body's high-powered energy molecule. That's what when we're training, we're lifting weights, whatever, say a set of bicep curls. We're creating, it breaks off into adenosine diphosphate. So it goes from 3-tri to di-2. The phosphate molecule, which is what creatine monohydrate is, it comes in to the rescue to make adenosine diphosphate triphosphate again. So essentially it keeps that cycle going. That's what creatine is in very simple terms. So it's with beta-alanine, it's great. The other one is citrulline malate, which can help found in watermelon, but of course not in the doses we need. I will point out that creatine and beta-alanine is found in steak and chicken, but not at the doses we need. Again, dose is everything. Dosage, It's like they say, like pears are actually toxic. In the right dose, a pear will kill you.
Bananas
Water
as well,
will kill you,
Water
yes,
will kill you.
and so will salt. But it's about the dose makes the poison. As a man called Parsius, I think Parsius, who's a Swiss-German fella back in the 1400s or something, he worked out. The dose makes the poison.
Yeah.
What about BCAAs?
BCAAs are a completely useless supplement. Now let me talk about that.
Preach, my man.
Completely useless. So what I mean by that is, for us trying to get lean or grow mass, if our protein numbers are on point, it is useless. If Tristan's hitting, what do you weigh?
65 kilos.
65 kilograms. What percentage body fat would you be?
10.5.
So 10.5. So 65 kilograms minus 10.5 gives us, I'm terrible at maths, but let's say around 50. So 50 times 3 is 150 grams of protein a day for you, right?
Which isn't much at all.
Which isn't much at all, but you can go higher than that. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Going higher on protein. They've worked out it won't make you fat. It's amazing. Antonio and colleagues. Again, 2014.
Yeah.
But anyway, we know that Tristan hits his numbers 150. So we do learn that if you hit those numbers, you don't need extra BCAAs. So the literature is currently, as time of recording, telling us that we don't need more BCAAs. You don't need them. BCAAs are the three of the 9 essential amino acids.
It's actually funny. I've never read that before. I'm glad you're bringing it to our attention.
Yeah, well, supplement companies will tell you that, and they are not lying. I'll tell you how. I'll sell you BCAAs. You ready? Leucine is the man behind protein synthesis. There are 3 BCAAs: leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Leucine is in BCAAs. If you don't buy BCAAs, I'm holding up the container for everyone listening. If you don't buy it, your muscles won't grow. The science is clear behind leucine. Here's 50,000 references. Buy BCAAs. The kid just getting in the gym goes, Mum, I need BCAAs. Dad, I need BCAAs. But no, he gets them from the protein, but they don't tell you that.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to do fasted training, if you follow an intermittent fasting approach, then I would recommend BCAAs.
Talk about it. What is intermittent fasting?
Just before we touch on that one, holidays, because last year I went on a holiday to Croatia and I wasn't hitting my protein numbers at all, but I was taking BCAAs.
Then in that context, they're not useless.
But
they're not
that's why I wanted to bring it because it's
no.
the least muscle mass that I've ever lost.
Yeah.
I did lose some, but not to the extent that I had on previous holidays.
Yeah, that's right. So, did you do a DEXA or something, or you just looked in the mirror and
it was pretty much in the mirror. It was pretty obvious.
Yeah, you could tell. Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of the time you'd be surprised. Sometimes you don't lose muscle at all, and then sometimes you think you're losing it, you don't. But anyway, the fact is, yes, in that context, BCAAs are great. If you're climbing, you're talking about that guy climbing Mount Everest with nothing. Those guys, I tell you what they do. They eat peanut butter, and my dad was a flying doctor. He saved the lives of millions of New Guinea natives by giving them peanut butter. They had no teeth. So, of course, what's peanut butter got? Protein, fat and carbs. It's a meal. They give it to them, they survive. Adventurers have BCAAs and they have peanut butter and they suck on that and they survive. because BCAAs in that context are not useless.
So you
but in the
recommend-
context of a Western bodybuilder who's training 9 to 5, he's got an office job, hitting his chicken breast at his desk daily, doing what he needs to do, BCAAs are useless unless you're doing an intermittent fasting approach. Currently, a lot of the experts and the science is recommending don't train with weights fasted. Maybe that's probably not the best idea. If you're in a deficit, have BCAAs beforehand. Everyone in that does intermittent fasting has 15 grams of branched chain amino acids before training. They do that. So in that context, and context is everything in what we speak about, in that context, they're all good. But in the context of hitting your protein numbers every day, you don't need them. But I will say, funny enough, I take them sometimes anyway, purely for the satiety benefits, and that is because it makes you feel full. Because you can be hungry sometimes, so I have them. But I know in my head they're not doing anything except keeping me full. Water might do that too.
Yeah.
Cordial might do that too. But I just have them because I've still got them in the cupboard, so I use them.
Why not finish them off?
And if you want to have them, you can have them. But I'm saying don't expect ridiculous muscle gains from branched chain amino acids.
Are there any foods that you avoid?
Absolutely none.
Do you drink?
No, I don't drink alcohol.
How
I
bad
just
is alcohol for
purely
muscle growth?
because it's not as bad as people say.
Okay.
It will decrease testosterone. It afterwards, shortly afterwards. It's not for fat loss. It isn't ideal. I think from memory, ethanol is burnt first. So if you're out drinking, your body turns to the ethanol calories first. Ethanol has 7 calories a gram. So, depending on how many beers you're having, is grams of ethanol is extra calories. Alcohol doesn't necessarily, again, make you fat. It's the fact that it's the foods you eat when you're having alcohol that's the problem. Look at alcoholics, they're the skinniest people in the world.
Yeah, but
all they do is drink, but
and
they
then
don't
they
eat.
get swollen.
But they don't eat.
Yeah,
That's the point. They don't eat. Yeah. We get smashed, generally, not everyone, but Australians generally. Australians like a bit of a drink.
Kebab.
They go and have a kebab with it. They have maybe
Some hot
ice
chips,
cream with
yeah.
it, hot chips. They dance too, but they only burn 200 calories
They
by
try
that.
to dance. The Aussie boys, man. If my American
Yeah.
friends are listening, man, we need to come down here and
Yeah.
teach some dance.
Ooh, we're going to have a bit of a dance off, I think. Johnny rates himself.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll put that on video. See Johnny
No, it's
come out.
funny. But look, that's what it comes down to, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on something before?
Just the whole. We're good. He answered it. We talked about the. I was going to ask him what foods, if he avoided any certain foods.
Cool. Actually, while we're on that, any favourite foods? You said kangaroo before.
Yeah, kangaroo, I love that. Barramundi, I really like.
Good one.
I like pikelets. I find they're really good. A great source of carbohydrates.
What are they
The mini pikelets, mini pancakes. They're pikelets.
Pancakes.
Yeah, I try to have them daily. I really like them. Not all the time.
So what's your go-to meal when you've got your lady around, man? What's
Ooh,
how do you satisfy her?
Oh, mate, I'm not a very good cook, so I'm dreadful at it, to be
So
honest.
you're ordering in?
Yeah, order in, yeah, or just, yeah, mate, I can't cook. She's the best cook in the world. I was over there on the weekend. And, oh, mate, the gingerbread men she makes, the stuff, the risottos she makes, and it's incredible, mate. But look, it comes down to, again, nothing is off limits. The minute you start thinking foods are off limits, you're in trouble.
Setting yourself up for failure.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because there's no, this is, again, and people, I remember writing about this and people just, bodybuilders and some people just, men and women alike, people everywhere saying like this is just completely wrong, and it blows people's mind. But there really is no such thing there is no such thing as a clean food, as a clean or an unclean food.
You're talking when you're getting to
Because
pesticides, how they grow things, or
yeah, that's right. Because
the air, water?
yeah, that's right. There is no such thing. So, like, you look at a Big Mac and a pear. People say, oh, you can't eat McDonald's because there's a chemical in it that they use in something or other, right? You hear the most ridiculous things. And you go, oh, okay. What about the lethal chemicals in pears? The lethal chemicals in vegetables, in broccoli? The dose makes the poison.
That's
right.
right.
Now, there are more nutrient-dense foods.
Yes.
There are more nutrient-dense foods. They did a study, Bray and colleagues did a study, I don't remember the year off the top of my head. They compared an organic beef roll and a Big Mac and with a root beer? Or no, it was Coca-Cola or something with a Big Mac. And like a fancy drink with an organic beef roll. They gave it to both the subjects and there was absolutely no difference in blood lipids, satiety, the feeling of being full.
That's a one-off though, test. That's not repetitive.
One-off test.
That's
and
not conditioned.
That's exactly,
eating it every day.
And that's exactly the point.
That's very important though.
That's the point. It is. And the point is,
people to understand.
Long term, you don't have the Big Mac every single day.
That's right.
But I will point out as well, there's a guy in America who ate nothing but Big Macs.
Yeah,
and
I think
me. No, not that. No. He did it in a calorie deficit and improved. Had McDonald's, I think 6 weeks and lost 10 kilograms or something like that. I'd have to check the exact numbers. And had nothing but McDonald's and improved his cholesterol, blood lipids, triglycerides, all that stuff. Because the food is not the problem. It's not inherently the food. That calorie deficit is better for your health than anything. There is no one food that has a massively negative or positive impact on your health eaten once.
So the point is just get moving.
Well, that's it. Yeah. So you eat a stalk of broccoli. If you think you're just going to become this machine of this thing that just radiates health in a matter of seconds, you're not. Eating one Big Mac is not going to make you fat and drastically unhealthy. You're not. Your blood triglycerides are going to return, to baseline. Blood lipids rather are going to return to baseline immediately after that. It's not a problem in the right context and dose. It's like, for example. Mexico is the world's fattest nation, for instance, the last time I checked. Tom in Mexico. Mexico is the world's fattest nation.
That's based on, look at the nutrition, the foods, the oils they cook with.
They don't move a lot.
Yeah,
and they have exactly
villagers.
And they eat a lot.
Yeah,
simple.
It's but then again, that goes back to their value system. I lived in from Southern California. The Mexican people are very beautiful, very family oriented, big meals, celebrations. So that plays into a factor too.
Well, that's right. But so what I'm trying to get at is, Tom in Mexico eats 3 fast food meals a day. He has a litre of Coke a day, and he also has a vegetable salad every day. And before bed, he religiously has a stalk of broccoli. Johnny in Sydney, Australia, who's moved from America, is in a calorie deficit for 6 months of the year. That is, he's eating less calories than he burns. His protein numbers are on point. His fibre numbers are on point. And he has a serving of fast food, once, maybe 2 or even 3 times a week. The serving of fast food for Tom is dreadful. The serving for fast food for Johnny is wonderfully healthy. Why is it healthy? How can fast food be healthy? Because it keeps Johnny on track with his diet, and he doesn't walk past the shopping centres on the weekends or on a Sunday night going, holy fuck, I wish I could eat that food. Oh, Jesus, I'd love to have that. Oh, man, dieting, I hate it, but I've got a 6-pack, so I've got to deal with it. No, Johnny is at peace with himself, the universe, with food and nutrition. And, mate, it's a joke. I've been dieting 15 weeks. I don't think I've been dieting, because I know that no food is off limits and I can structure anything into my diet. And guess what you do after 6 or 7 weeks when you know that you can eat anything? Yeah. All you do is eat whole foods. Yeah. That's the secret to flexible dieting. That's what it is. It's not sit around and try and get as much ice cream into your diet. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
There are days where...
priority is nutrient.
Exactly. There are days where you will do that. You will do that because the longevity. There are also days where you'll have refeed days, where you have a stack of pancakes to boost the hormone leptin, which makes the body move more and produces, that feeling of satiety, which is what leptin is. When we're really hungry and we're not moving on a diet, we can't even want to get up and put the kettle on. That's because our levels of leptin are really low. The way to increase that, the literature says, is 3 days of a chronically high carbohydrate intake of glucose. So glucose. So fructose doesn't affect leptin levels. We drop fats right down on those 3 days and we pump them up, and all of a sudden, bam, leptin's back. We're ready to go. We've been eating pancakes for 3 days. How is that possible? Flies in the face of everything we've been told, doesn't it? But that's because everything we've been told is, unfortunately, out of context and generally incorrect.
Dave, what's your opinion on carb cycling?
Carb cycling is just another way of creating a deficit day on, day off. Really, that's all it is. It's not a magical bullet. Well, but if it's what you like doing, because mentally it gets you in gear, then do it. But it's essentially like one day where you will have it's essentially the refeed day. It's like it's a psychological benefit. That's what it is. It's like one day you'll have you'll be in a deficit of this much, and the next day you'll be in a deficit of that much, and then that's really all it is. Or you can just go. It's like carb backloading. Carb backloading works because you're in a deficit. It doesn't work for the reasons that they try and tell you it does. You know, increasing growth hormone at night, you're less likely to store fat in the morning. More likely to store fat in the morning. It's all garbage. It's rubbish, and it's been disproven 100 times. And the guy, when I wrote about it, breaking off the back of a podcast where the guy who came up with it actually basically said he was wrong. He did the PhD doctor in America, did a post about me and said, let me address this article. That's not what I said and blah, blah, blah. Well, he did. And he has based a whole, like so many people have, including that sugar film, they've based their whole stance on the hypothesis of insulin that's 10 years old. Insulin does not store fat. When we spike insulin, fat burning switches off, that's right. People take that as meaning if you have insulin, it's bad. What they don't realise is it's about insulin over the 24-hour period and the calorie intake that's more important. Protein spikes insulin in some cases more than white bread. Work that out. Beef spikes insulin more than white rice in some cases. Yes, work that out. So people who say it's all about reducing blood sugars and they don't know what they're talking about. And this is not my opinion. This is
just
not
fact.
It is a fact. And there are you talk to the leading nutritionists in the world, the leading scientific researchers in the world, and they will tell you that. It blows people's minds when they learn that. Because leucine is that main amino acid, that branched chain amino acid that is responsible for protein synthesis. That spikes insulin. BCAA spike insulin like you wouldn't believe. Whey protein spikes it, as I just said, higher than white bread. That was what I meant. Whey protein spikes it higher than white bread. Yet people, the bros, say whey protein's great for fat loss. It is, but not in the way they think it is. I don't understand. So these are facts. This is not me making that up. I mean, you ask the top nutritional scientists in the world, and they will tell you that. So this whole thing of that sugar film was based on a fallacy. And when I tried to debate the gentleman who made the film, he wouldn't address it. I think they may have worked out afterwards that it wasn't right. Carb backloading is the same thing. It's all based on insulin. It's wrong. Insulin doesn't make you fat.
To change the topic just a second, I'm kind of interested. You taught me a lot so far, so I appreciate that. So I say thank you, Dayne. Also, you have a couple different things going on. You got your website, you got your online business. I saw you got the workout meals, you got the film. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where do you visualize yourself? What's Dayne doing in 10 years?
Whoa, sorry, I was slipping on the table there.
Savage. You just cracked the table.
Yeah, look, 10 years, mate. I'd like to be making feature films. I'd like to be directing and acting in my own films. I've got one I was researching late till last night, a film that I want to act and make, feature film.
What genre of film?
Oh, it'll be an R-rated film about a tale of two brothers, one caught up in a bikie gang and one...
Awesome.
That's.
If you had to compare yourself to an actor, who would you compare yourself to? Who would play Dayne Hudson?
No one.
Come on, man.
I got Gatsby for a reason.
No,
I got one. Jake, no, not Gyllenhaal, the other guy.
Leo.
No,
not Leo.
Drive.
Oh, Gosling.
Gosling.
Nah,
come on, man. I see some Gosling.
He's a brilliant actor.
He is.
He's a world-class actor.
He is the perfect example of less is more.
Well, he is. And a lot of people say I hate the way he's got the same look on his face in Nicholas Refn's film Drive. That's what I'm talking about. Nicholas Refn teamed up with him again actually
times.
Did the Bangkok film.
Yeah. He used that same
Only
sound.
God Forgives. Only God Forgives. Shoots beautifully.
The
Nicholas
music
Refn.
score though that he uses in those films, the music is it fits.
He's as good as he's a brilliant filmmaker, but. Yeah, that's essentially, films are my life. I live for films, and I started off as an actor. That's how I made my money.
I saw that. You were in, what was the film when you were a young kid?
Yeah, I was in a film called Hildegard when I was a kid, and acting was my thing. I cut my teeth with acting, and I worked with Chris Hemsworth in Home and Away.
Yeah.
He's every bit as jacked back then as he is now.
What's your style of acting? What do you like?
My favourite. Well, yeah, I mean, that's how I was trained. I was trained in that way, and acting is... you've really got to. You can't just. Acting is a very complex thing. People don't know what acting is. The average punter thinks it's remembering a line, putting a look on your face, and spitting it out. Acting is living. Yeah. Acting is actually a myth. Here we are, we're myth busting. We may as well get it. Yeah. Generally speaking, acting is a myth. They're not acting. They're living. The greatest actors live. Why is it that Mickey Rourke came back to do The Wrestler and did that film so well. Because that character was Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke is as good as any actor in the world. He hated the industry, he hated acting, so he went into boxing instead. But Mickey Rourke lived. He can't watch that film because he can't watch his life unfold and he screw it up like he did in The Wrestler. Sylvester Stallone is a brilliant actor.
Great writer too.
Great writer. But people say Stallone can't act. They don't know what they're talking about.
Hell of an actor.
You watch. I mean, he's not Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
He's not Ryan Gosling.
But he's honest and vulnerable.
But he's good at what he lives. Sylvester Stallone lives. You watch Stallone in Rocky.
Yeah.
In Rocky 1.
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
He does not. You won't catch him acting once. You can catch people acting.
Yeah.
They act. You can see they're acting.
I struggle with DiCaprio
living.
now.
He was hungry, but Rocky 1.
Stallone is playing himself.
Yeah.
He is Rocky. Stallone is Rocky. He had everything to win.
Yeah.
That scene is as good as any scene you'll see
where he's sitting there.
On that scene where he's sitting in there, he says, "I just don't want to be some other bomb from the neighborhood."
Yeah.
You know, he says, "All I want to do is go the distance."
Yeah.
That is that's not Rocky. That is Stallone living. That is what acting is. Acting is living. It's it's being able to forget the fact the crew is there, the camera's there, and putting yourself in the shoes of that character and just living. That's what acting really is.
Have you seen the episode behind the Actors Guild
studio?
Yeah, behind the Actors Studio.
Inside the Actors Studio.
Yeah. Have you
Wonderful
seen
program.
Have you seen the one with Bradley Cooper?
I have. He's the hardest working actor, and he's not a talented actor. He wasn't naturally talented. He worked
for everything.
You know who the lady who coached me knew Bradley Cooper, and she said, "Dayne, Bradley Cooper was not a gifted actor. He worked his ass off."
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it.
It's like we talked about.
It's all about work ethic.
Yeah.
The one thing, my favorite quote. My favorite quote right now. It's from a mentor of mine, Grant Cardone, and he says, I'm going to butcher this. I just wrote it down last night.
You're
paraphrasing, and he talks about, I never trusted my talent, so I outworked everyone. That speaks
beautiful.
to me. that really...
Well, I got another one for you. Acting coach Stella Adler said, talent is not enough. You have to have a talent for your talent. So that means you have to have the talent to improve your talent. Talent is not enough.
Yeah.
Do you know how many talented people there are out there in the world today? Talented people.
So many.
That are not there.
I think we're all talented.
That are not where they want to be because they weren't prepared. The world is full of talented, unsuccessful people, I think is the quote. It's work ethic.
I'll use Buster Douglas for an example. Buster Douglas is the guy. Buster Douglas is the guy who beat Mike Tyson. The first guy to ever show the world. Before this, Tyson was feared by everybody. He was unbeatable. He was a savage. They go to Japan, and there's this... Buster Douglas beats him. He knocks Mike Tyson out. He knocks the Lion out. And after that, Douglas's life was never the same. Depression, he put on all this weight, and he said in an interview later in life that he was the only one on the planet who knew he would beat Mike because his camp taught him how to win. The thing his camp didn't do was teach him how to act after he won. So it's like how important it is to know and believe in yourself, but also be ready for when it comes to you, and be ready to still act out of integrity, act with discipline, and still go forward and not be content.
It's true, man, and that's what it is. So making films, maybe I'm making a documentary series about weight loss myths next year. I'm working with some very decorated people.
Are you allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, just weight loss myths, essentially, which is what my website's all about. That's what we're talking about.
Are you allowed to mention any people that you're closely working with?
Just people from companies. Like
Studio
Canal is a big company.
Give us an example of a myth.
Oh, like we've got the thing in front of us, but like white rice, brown rice, it's the same thing. It is. Or we speak about GI, it's the same thing. It is. It's besides maybe the 2.3 grams of fibre in the brown rice. It's essentially one of the same things. It's. They think that as we just said, insulin, you spike insulin, it's a problem. It just isn't when you're in a deficit.
I think what I've taken from this so far, what you've really enlightened me about, is that all of these structured, formatted plans of people telling you these things are wrong and do this, it's all about the numbers, and
That's right.
It's not what it is all about is getting moving, finding what works for you. There is no right path. And like you said earlier, if somebody says don't, avoid this, avoid that, it's not.
They're selling you an eating
sustainable?
disorder. They're selling you an eating disorder,
Yeah,
which is what it
selling
is.
you an eating
but there
disorder.
is so much money involved in
Money,
that.
man. Money talks. And
You have no idea.
Like, look in America, the Food and Drug Administration. Food and drug. There is a company called the Food. Those two shouldn't go together.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And then the medical. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I could go on for days about how the hospitals and the pharmaceutical companies, and then how the crops, all that stuff. It's kind of scary when you think about it at how many people are unaware or uneducated or just not want to know what's really going on.
No, it's true, man. But it's basically if you know your level of fibre, fat, protein, and carbs, eat what you want to eat within reason, and you'll get there. That's what flexible dieting is. If you don't like that approach, you don't have to do it. But But I'm telling you, it's in 5-10 years when mainstream media, when all the garbage is ridded and people work out that it's what everyone will be doing. It's just embarrassingly easy to drop the fat.
If you had,
that's what I do to people. It's with the plans. It's you come to me, you tell me what you want to eat, I'll give you the plan. The story, it works.
You just answered my class. That's exactly what I was going to ask you.
And that's what works. And people can't believe it. They're having a beer every day. They're having the foods they love. They're having, things, but it's all dosage, context. They've got the favourite, in inverted commas, junk foods that they like. So when they want to eat that, I've got the step-by-step things that they need to remove from the daily diet to put it in. And they do it. And they just keep dropping the fat and they can't believe it. And they are not... And their strength, one guy's telling me his strength hasn't even dropped off after 8 weeks. And it's like you tailor it down to what people want, and it's amazing what happens.
Yeah. Now, Dayne, you also directed Heart of Sea recently.
Yeah, Heart of the Sea.
You want to touch on that a little bit, man?
Yeah, just briefly. So, this is the amazing thing when I created the television show Fit and Flexed, you meet great people, and it actually opens up other business opportunities. So one of my sponsors is Plus Fitness, and I do their on-demand videos and I do their corporate videos. I direct all of them. Mm-hmm. So that's more business that comes my way from knocking on people's doors and sponsors like you guys with your sponsors, Just mention them again.
Yeah, The Organic Trainer.
Yeah.
Jack Rabbit Slim's Barbershop.
There you go. So what I'm saying is there might be other doors that open down the track with these guys. And that's what's so important. So I interviewed Damien Ryder, and he said to me, I'm going to do a 24-hour paddle without sleeping, and I'm going to do it to raise awareness for child abuse. The way I met him is the most phenomenal story. Very briefly, I was crossing the road in a car park. A big bloke pulled up and said, "You look like a lifter. Where is Vitamin King?" I said, "It's in there." I said, "Why?" He's got all this protein in his back. He said, "Mate, I'm a rep for this company. I need to go there." I said, mate, come on. I'm looking for sponsors. I give him a card, he gives me a card. Now, I worked out they don't sponsor people. That didn't matter. We met up and we had a workout together and we had sushi after we trained. He proceeds to tell me about this guy, Damien Ryder, his friend, who's paddling for 24 hours for child abuse. I said, 24 hours? I said, are you sure? I couldn't believe it. I spat my sashimi across the room because, mate, that's exactly what he's doing. I said, really? I said, what about, the sharks and all sorts of stuff? Mate, you said you're going to need to meet this guy. He just doesn't care. I was looking for athletes to interview on my show. So I met this guy. I told the story. I said, mate, this story is way too good. I'm sitting there with the editor, Danny Yap, and we're sitting there. I said, this story's too good for an 8-minute thing on Channel 10. I said, this is just too damn good. I said, this is a documentary. And Danny said, of course it is. And Damien had mentioned a documentary. I was in Queensland about 12 months ago to the day, and I believe we've got the 21st of December today. And he walked over and he said, sorry, my phone rang, and Damien said, mate, I want to make this into a doco. I'm going to offer it to you. I'd never made a documentary in my life. I thought to myself, well, what would Ben Fordham do? He was my boss at 2GB, and I said to myself, you know what? I've made 2 seasons of Fit and Flexed. I can make another one, or I can go and do something I haven't done, throw myself in the deep end. I deep-ended it with these 2 programs. Let's do it again. Screw it. So I did it. Cut a trailer, sent it to National Geographic, and they were over the moon. So we were, fair to say, doing handstands at National Geographic. Yeah. We're going to air my we're going to air Damien's story in a film that I, directed in concert with Simon Safinia, a brilliant cinematographer, and Danny Yap's editing as well. So, Damien Ryder brought the money onto the thing with sponsors and various things alike. So off we went, and we made this thing, and Nat Geo, took it off, and now it's airing, and it actually aired at 11:30 this morning. So there it is, a filmmaker, and I didn't think it would happen so early, but it's like my dad says to me, you've got to be an opportunist in life. When an opportunity comes, grab it and worry about it later.
Yeah.
I remember waking up and knowing I had no job to go to and staring at my laptop closed on the table and wanting to run away, wanting to take a tablet and disappear, like thinking, not, you know what I mean? Like vanish for a few days and think, holy crap, that's my computer and it's all up to me. What am I doing? I thought, you're an idiot. Why do you do this to yourself? But that's what living is.
Yeah, I've been through that as well.
That's what it is. It's just
it's living with
it's the
intent,
same
though.
with what you guys are doing right now, the podcast, the fitness business. It's living that dream, and when it comes off, it leads into something else. It's like
It opens doors to different.
it opens doors.
Just so Saturday night, I called Tristan and I'm telling him, hey man, we're chatting about business the past week. I'm like, hey man, I have a feeling something's gonna happen. Someone's gonna call us. That morning, Sunday, he comes over and I showed him 2 emails from, I'm not gonna say the names, two people, and it's crazy. 2 very influential people that we're gonna get on the show.
Right.
That it's really about, like you said, opening the doors, taking risks, being vulnerable, and then being open to just anything new.
And that's the thing. So Damien said, 24 hours, and he says, by the way, mate, the paddle's changed. I'm not going to do it on that day. I said, what do you mean? Because, mate, I'm now going to do a paddle from Queensland to Bondi Beach. And I thought he was joking. He wasn't.
Now, is this paddle, is he standing up? Or
No, he's lying on a board and
Okay.
using his hands.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing? The Wolf rocked up to the premiere because
The Wolf was there?
The Wolf was there.
Kevin Wolfley getting a shout out.
He was there because his partner
He
Devon
told me, yeah,
is in the media, and Devon got the invite and said this looks interesting, so he brought Kevin along.
I saw Kevin the next day when I was training him, and I was like, Dayne and I are probably going to do, an episode.
He didn't tell you.
No, he did.
Oh, he did.
I just.
You forgot.
You just remembered. I thought I thought it was open for everyone.
No, it wasn't. It was only media.
So there's a guy I listen to named Duncan Trussell. If you guys are listening, check Duncan out. His podcast is the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. But Duncan talks about synchronicity.
Yeah.
And that synchronicity basically, we were just talking about that and it happens. Or, you're talking about an old friend, he shows up. But on an aspect of living with intent and manifesting the things we want. For instance, I'll tell a story, piggyback on the Damien Ryder story. I was in Melbourne 4 weeks ago for the UFC. And there was a list of guys, if I had to make a list of people I wanted to meet. Short list. Number 1 would be there. So I go see him speaking in front of maybe 15,000 people at the Palace Theater. And the guy who jumps on stage before him, I grew up with in my hometown, 14,000 miles away in Ohio, a little hometown. And he starts talking about his hometown. And I stand up and I go, Youngstown? And I say it, and he's like, Stofko, Johnny, what's up? Is that you? Blah, blah. Anyway, he texts me after the show. I meet him. And then all of a sudden, the guy, number 1 on my list who I wanted to meet
Yeah, I know.
is right in front of me because
told
he's
me.
friends with him.
Yeah.
Synchronicity. It's crazy.
It's amazing,
It
man.
is amazing.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, it's
crazy.
just you be a people person and talk to people because you never know where it's going to take you.
Yeah, network.
Networking.
Yeah.
But, mate, going to the grocery store, I 12 months later, I was a National Geographic director.
Yeah,
I
when
mean,
you told me that.
how does
We only
that?
met 4 months ago.
See,
Yeah, I know.
I've known Dayne
How
for
does
two
But
years.
it feels like
Yeah,
I've known you for a couple
That's
of
right.
years.
Yeah, how does that happen?
See, I've known
It's
you.
amazing.
I've known you for 2 years, and not really, really gotten to know you within the last half a year. But it's been awesome to watch you evolve, and it's been awesome to see doors opening up for you. And I'm cheering for you, and it's really good to be around people doing good things. So
No, appreciate it, Johnny. It's likewise, bro. You guys are, you're killing it. You just got to keep moving, keep going with those guests, keep doing what you're doing. And, mate, people think that famous people, celebrities, or wealthy people, there's something special about them. Okay, maybe there is in their persistence, but they are no different to you and I. All they do is persist and never ever quit,
Never, ever
and never
quit.
give up. That's all it is. Just keep going.
how important is that
Never quitting.
Never quitting, never
Yeah,
giving up.
it's so cliche.
That's the difference
So
between
people
that
hate
make
it.
it and don't.
They
Yeah.
say that. The
Don't
only
quit.
difference between successful and unsuccessful
That's what
people.
Steve Jobs says. He said the only reason I'm Steve Jobs is because of persistence.
I listened to that last night, actually. His
yeah.
speech at Stanford.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
So when he talks about getting fired, he started the business and then he got fired, and at 30 years old, he had nothing.
Yeah.
And then he met his wife, and then he started Next, this other company that 5 years later Apple ended up buying.
Yeah.
And now he's working for him again. He's like, if I would have never got fired when I had nothing, I wouldn't be where I am today.
It's about turning that negative into a positive, finding something, like, whether it's a fucking arm injury, like I'm dealing with.
There you go.
You've got to find something that's positive about it. Now, let's not kid ourselves, right? Sometimes I sit around going, this is really freaking annoying. You have those days.
Yeah.
Of course you do. No one is optimistic 100% of the time. That's ridiculous. Anyone who says they are is most likely telling a bit of a bit
or
of
on drugs.
Yeah, bit of a lie.
That's what you do about it.
It's how you deal with it.
The action.
It's how you deal with it.
Preparation, action. How important is it, Dayne, for you to surround yourself around positive people? Circle of influence.
Oh, mate, Matt. Oh, look, man. I've met people along this journey that beat you down, and they're meant to be helping you, and they beat you down one way or the other. You've got to be around people that see the positive in you. And, you sent me that podcast once from Joe Rogan about how, people get envious of other people and think, if they're making money, then there's less to go around for everyone else. Rubbish. That's not true. There is so much money to go around.
Yeah, the law of
it's not
abundance.
about money, right? But it's about
The
success. There is so much to go around. You need to be around positive people because positive people make you believe. You know what, man? Sometimes when I was having rough days shooting Fit and Flex or something, you got to be on all the time. There are people, friends, high school friends that you can sit around with, and the minute you meet up with them or you catch up with them, you find that you become this great version of yourself. You become really even funnier or even wittier than you normally are. Sometimes when I was on camera, I'd sit there and imagine that just behind the camera, looking into the monitor, directing me were those guys.
That's nice, man.
And that's what can bring you up. You've just got to remember why you go down the rabbit hole. You've got to remember why you do it. You've got to remember why you want to do it. And you've got to remember what there is at the end if you can succeed. And that is a lifetime of freedom, maybe wealth, but it's not about the wealth. The wealth will come if you are good at what you do. It's about...
Fulfillment?
Yeah, fulfillment. And that's exactly right. And doing what you want to do and loving what you do and living what you do. That's what it is. It's just about, for me, life is just finding a dream and chasing it. That's all it is.
How simple.
Finding it
Beautiful.
and chasing it. That's all it is, And you might get hit by a bus. You might live to your 105. You might fail miserably. But would you rather be sitting in a retirement home going, well, I didn't buy a 7-bedroom mansion. I only made X amount of money. But you know what? I was massively happy, and I'm dying in this room day by day knowing that I gave everything I wanted to give a shot. Or would you rather sit in the room and go, well, I bought the 7-bedroom mansion. I hated my boss. I hated my life. But, hey, I had a good family. I never know if I would have made a good film or not. I never know if I would have been any good at that. But you know what? Hey, I can't complain. I had a great life. That's fine. I'd rather have no money and sit around and go, well, maybe it all worked out. Now, I'm not saying we're going to end up with no money, but I'm just saying that I think when you're in your darkest hours at the end of your life, you'll look back and say, what did I want to do?
Yeah.
And did I do it?
Did I do it?
And if you did do it,
you can die.
I think that's the person that's walking around smiling. Well, what's the point of being 95, immobile, sitting around and hating what you did in life, but being comfortable and leaving the money behind for someone else?
There's a guy that I listen to, and he talks about that. He talks about so many people are dead right now. So many people.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
are going to their grave with all of their talents still in them.
Yeah.
He was like, and then he goes on this bit about imagining being on your deathbed. Just like, I thought you were rehearsing it, but obviously he's not reinventing the wheel. But the way he paints that picture, imagine being on your deathbed with all of your dreams.
I always think retirement village because deathbed, you're dying.
Jobs says
retirement village is still there. You're still coherent.
I know you and I listen. I'm a big fan of Branson. I'm a big fan of Jobs, and they have their common denominator about what drove Steve and then what drives Branson is the fact that they know they're not permanent. They know no one's permanent, and they know that they could die tomorrow. So why be average? Why be normal?
Yeah, it's exactly right, man. It really is. But as I say, like, I'm not having a go at people that maybe are too front. You know, I will point this out as well. I'm very fortunate in the fact that I've got a roof over my head thanks to mum and dad. So there are some people in this world that don't have that benefit, and therefore they can't run out on a risk or run out on a limb and do certain things. So they need to go and get that job, and they would love to try and do this or that, and they can't. So and obviously you'd agree with me that I'm not sitting here saying that myself or other people are superior than others. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you've got the opportunity or the way to make it happen, regardless of the cost, do it. Like, make it happen, whether it's working for 5 years, getting the money up in an investment property, or investing in a business, whatever it might be, then going for it.
Yeah.
But where there's a will, there's a way, right? And it's cliche,
If you want it bad
but
enough,
it's
you'll
true.
find a
If
way.
you want it, I mean, like you, Tristan, I know that you were in banking before you're now chasing your dream in the fitness industry, right?
Yeah, it's 12 years in broking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that there is a way to do it. You've obviously earned some money. You're obviously surviving. You obviously, you know.
And it helped that I didn't have independence. Like,
Yeah.
there were circumstances that helped my
Yeah,
journey,
yeah.
but I had
Yeah.
to take it because, like you talked about before, I didn't want to go to my death, and
No,
I knew I wasn't
that's
fulfilled at all, and I achieved as much as it was good to be on TV, radio, and all that sort
Yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
It's just not really what I was about.
That's right. And look, it comes down to this. It comes down to we need all sorts of people in the world. We need people, you know, that just want to man the desk for their life, or just want to, you know, put the vegetables out in the shopping centre for the week, or whatever. Without those people, without those people, society doesn't exist. So, you know, if everyone was running around chasing their dreams, I guess it would be a bit of a problem, wouldn't it? So we need to look at it that way as well. I'm not saying what I'm saying is that those people generally don't know what they want to do. That's why they maybe in their lifetime they don't understand that they don't know what it is, or they're too frightened, or they're it's not about they are comfortable. They're comfortable and they're content. There are all sorts of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that, you know, if you don't chase your dreams you're a flop.
No, you're.
But you know what I'm saying?
I totally agree with you. I called an old friend this weekend. Man, at one time he was like a brother to me, and I got him on the phone. And this dude, the most talented dude I know to this day. He's the guy that if never played a video game, picked a video game up, he'd beat you.
Yeah.
Baseball. Best player that I've played with. Never played in college, never played in high school. He's still searching for what he wants to do, and he's in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like that. He will find that, but nothing's worse than when you are around those people, if you do meet them, that aren't fulfilled, and you know they have talent.
Yeah.
So it's really important to just be positive, be patient, be persistent,
Yeah,
and don't listen to the fucking bullshit.
And you just mentioned the word persistent. I think at the start of the show, you mentioned that you contacted Ray Hadley 100 times. It's about that persistence. You could have just given up after the first non-contact, but you just kept up at it, and I see that in my own business every day.
Yeah.
That just because you chase someone up twice, they might not have the time to answer, but if you keep persistently, you know, putting yourself out there, they will answer you. Would you agree on that?
Oh, exactly. Man, you're 100% right. They will answer you eventually. They will.
Because you don't know what they're going through as well.
No, you don't. And I would agree with you 100%. And that's exactly what it's about, you know. It's
not
about
giving up.
It's about pushing forward and just keep. You know what, man? My girlfriend has this dog called Morty. I've been going around to her house for about 8 months, and all he does is try and play fetch with you. And I never did it. And the dad picks up the ball, Jeff, and he throws it up in the. He's got this, like, above the clothes on, there's this little net where you throw it up, and the dog will never get the ball. He has tried to play fetch with me for the best part of 8 months. As soon as it's a stick, you're sunbaking, he brings the stick over, he barks at you. After 8 months, I cracked the other day and played for a good 10 minutes. That's persistence.
Persistence,
8
man.
months of trying to play fetch. I'm like, you know what?
But he wanted
Screw
you,
it.
and he got you.
He got it after 8 months. Now, if you're trying to sell something to someone, like a vase, for instance, or a hat, or whatever it is, if they don't buy it after 8 months, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
But we're talking about something a little bit different here. Let's just put
But
that
he's
in the
built a
context.
relationship with you, you know.
That's right, yeah. So it's a little bit different. Like, eventually, some people will buy. So I love that story. You know, I think it's just so funny. It's like, eventually, some people crack. Some people won't crack, but then some people will. You know.
It's really important to also believe that there isn't anything that we can't do. A lot of, like, for me, what held me back a lot in my 20s was thinking that I wasn't good enough, maybe because I didn't have the highest of certifications, maybe because I had a bachelor's, not a master's, or a master's, not a PhD. So I was only capable of doing so much. Those standards that society or the conditioned wheel that puts on you, that's all smoke and mirrors.
Oh, look, I
mean, none of that even matters.
A qualification is very important, but it does, but to a certain degree.
Certain degree.
I mean, some of the richest people in Australia, Frank Lowy. I think
Steve Jobs
other
was
people,
a dropout. He dropped out of Reed College. He's dropped out of Reed College.
Some people like to go to university, get their certificate, put it on the wall, and then sort of say, well, that's me there, and they don't push after that.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, I spoke to you yesterday. I've got an MBA, but I've learned more in business from actual personal interaction and actually being out there in the workforce.
Oh,
than I
man.
had
I did a BA in journalism, but I learned everything working for Ben Fordham.
Yeah.
Mentorship.
Actually, that is when I actually learned. Ben Fordham didn't go to university. He is one of the number one broadcasters in Australia, and he's also on the books at Channel 9 as a host. I mean, he is as good as it gets. And he never went to university. So there's a lot to be said about university, good and bad. I mean, it's not that it's bad.
Do you guys know Alan Watts?
Yeah, of course.
So Alan Watts
what
has
sort of situation.
Amazing. Watts has a thing. He's like, the problem with society is this. Western society is that you have a 7-year-old. You tell the 7-year-old he's in 2nd grade, and then he has to wait, and then he's in 3rd grade, and then he has to wait, and then he's in 4th grade. Then the 7-year-old's a senior in high school. Guess what, senior? You have to wait. You'll be in college. He was like, by the time you get to college and you graduate, it's called commencement. The beginning. So you have that job at the bottom and you have to wait, and then you're always waiting, and then when you retire, you're 60, you have prostate issues, you're impotent, you have gray hair. Why not tell that 7-year-old you could be great right now? There's something it's 7, so start doing it. It's just
it's exactly right, man.
Alan Watts was the man.
Alan Watts they removed all his YouTube videos because they used a lot of the people
go to the Journey of Purpose. They have them all on there. TJOP.
TJOP.
The Journey of Purpose. That's a lot of his stuff. Les Brown is on there. A guy I listen to.
Alan Watts is.
He's the man. He was like the beginning of that self-help, but awareness of what this thing's all about, and then telling the people, no one knows shit. We don't know anything. And that's just be open-minded.
Yeah.
Now, Dayne, thanks so much for coming on, dude. You're such a multi-dimensional sort of dude. It was good to get your perspective on nutrition, business, mentors.
Yeah, you inspired me, man. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully we can get you back on again.
Oh, I'd love to. You tell me when I'll be here.
Now, you've got your own podcast coming out pretty soon too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Company called Wooshka. Started by a mate called Rob Lowenthal, who was a former COO of Macquarie Radios at 2GB. He's got one. He's on fire there. He's sorted out basically like YouTube for audio, really. So I'm going to be doing daily things, just very short, and maybe weekly interviews as well. Doing stuff on there. So yeah, it'll just be reference science-based stuff to grow muscle and lose fat, which is I guess what Fit and Flexed is, and a bit of myth busting as well. That's what I'm doing, yeah. And then making the doco series in the new year, and that's.
Where could the people find you at?
Fitandflex.com, FITNFLEXED.com.
So custom nutrition plans.
Yeah, custom nutrition plans. So if you're interested in that, tell me what you want to eat, when you want to eat it. Tell me what you're doing every day, and I'll put together a custom plan for you. All you have to do is eat it. And your favourite foods, so-called junk foods in inverted commas, clean foods in inverted commas. You tell me what you want, and we eat it. And look, there's so many people, and I finally finished my book I was writing about the 5 reasons people don't lose weight. So if you go onto my website, you can email me and you get it for free.
Awesome.
So if you're interested in reading that.
So a little ebook there?
Yeah, a little ebook there, which I think you've got Magic in the Mornings. You've got one as well.
Yeah, man, if you guys want, check my website out, www.therealfitcoach.com. I have a couple there, Magic in the Mornings. Have you checked it out?
Yeah, I've seen it. You sent it to me.
Yeah, cool, man. I like doing, I just use my photography over my travels in the 20s. Yeah. I find inspiration in memories.
Oh, yeah.
So I took the photographs and then wrote about them in the B book. But Magic in the Morning is the morning ritual guide, so that's on there as well.
Yeah. And you've got another one as well, sorry. Magic in the Morning.
And then the B book, Inspiration Through Being. Yeah. That's basically a daily manifest. So get on Johnny's website. He's got a free newsletter that comes out each week. So do I. Jump on www.tristancannellfitness.com. I've got a free cookbook. I've also wrote a book about testosterone, and I've also got a 12-week Super Shred program on there, guys. So jump on that. Before we go, thanks again to our sponsors, Jack Rabbit Slim's Barbershop in Potts Point, and also the Organic Trainer.
Johnny, you have a good week, and Dane, thanks again for coming on.
No worries, guys.
You have a great Christmas, mate.
I will, you too.
To all the listeners out there, you guys also have a great Christmas. I think we'll be releasing this just around the Christmas time, so everyone have a safe and awesome Christmas, and we're going to have another podcast before the New Year's. We've got some exciting guests coming on. Dane will have back in early 2016, hopefully. But guys, have a great week.
Have a great week.
See you later.
Peace.
The Vision Board Podcast, hosted by Johnny Stofko and Tristan Cannell.